Jean Quan's victory may have surprised many media pundits, but not those of us that have known her a long time. The December 29th Tribune stated, and I quote, "Her opponents tend to underestimate her work ethic, focus, and ability to connect with people," end of quote. I first met Jean more than 20 years ago when she was running for her first term on the school board and rang my doorbell. She walked every precinct in District 4 during that race and walked nearly every precinct in the entire city of Oakland in her campaign for mayor. She's not only a tireless campaigner, but a tireless office holder. Those of us that have worked with her describe her as being like the Energizer Bunny on steroids. She's a person of many firsts. She's the first woman and first Chinese American mayor of Oakland. She's one of the first Asian American mayors of a major US city. She's the first mayor in 44 years to have served on the city council, and at least in my lifetime, she's the first Oakland mayor to have served both on the school board and on the city council. She's Oakland's first true education mayor. Her 12 years of service on the school board have sharpened her focus on education and jobs for Oakland youth. Her wealth of experience will be critical to reducing crime and strengthening Oakland's economic development. As chair of the Chabot Space and Science Center, she recognizes the tremendous potential of Oakland's regional institutions, including the zoo, the Oakland Museum, and Children's Fairyland, to attract visitors and their dollars to Oakland. Mayor Quan lives in the Oakmore District with her husband Floyd, an internist who is medical director of the Over 60s Health Center. They met while students at Cal, so yes, they're both old blues. Jean and Floyd have 2 children. Will is an internist practicing in San Francisco, and Lilan, who was a key player in her mother's mayoral campaign, is an aide to Assemblyman Sandre Swanson. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to an amazing woman, our mayor, Jean Quan.
Thank you very much. I got to get used to that. That's very interesting. I'm not going to even try to talk about everything I could talk about, but I thought Sue and I talked about, and many of you know that Sue Piper has been one of my best friends. We were tough PTA moms trying to save the schools a million years ago, 20 years ago, Sue Piper. And great Rotarians and great public servants, both she and her husband, Gordon. And I have to say, Jean Zajas could also be mayor. I met him when we were trying to reconfigure the schools as a school board member. And he did this enormous process. You know, Oakland's like, I tell this joke that I learned in New York, it's like 2 Oaklanders, 3 opinions. He tried to reconfigure the schools. And here is this great alum, didn't earn a penny. He had to go for at least 100 meetings with people who didn't want any change at all. And so he is also an amazing Oaklander and the kind of person who makes both Rotary great and makes the city of Oakland great. So what Sue and I decided is I'm going to tell you very quickly, a little bit like what it's been for the first 10 days. And then everywhere I go, I'm going to do the 5 things I'm asking Oaklanders to do, and then we're just going to open up to questions to give you enough time. So, first of all, I guess being the new mayor, we've had pretty much a whirlwind 10 days. People asked me, have you slowed down? I said, no, I don't. I had sped up, and I said, no, actually, I just don't think we ever slowed down. If you've ever run a campaign that's in 400 precincts, and I have to say I've only lost 1 citywide race, so we were also pretty confident that we could pull this off. It takes a lot of work to try to get to every sector of the town. But as a politician, it actually makes sense. This is very corny, and this is what I say to kids. Sometimes being a politician and being able to stand on the doors of literally thousands of your fellow citizens is a very humbling and rewarding experience. People are asking me, am I having a lot of fun? I say it's a rewarding experience. It's not necessarily fun, it's not necessarily easy, but it is an opportunity to literally stand in the shoes of other people And so right after an election, I'm better than any poll because I've talked to more people than any pollster would. I've been in every neighborhood. I make a clear point to talk to people in different kinds of neighborhoods across the city. And so this is what it's been like. We've started during the transition to pull together a very diverse group of people. Those people are posted on the New City website. We tried to do a Noah's Ark approach, a little bit of everything. I know people are criticizing, oh, why did you hire that person? Why did you do this? You know, a mayor has to build consensus, and that's what I plan to do. People you agree with, people you don't agree with, but that's Oakland. We need to bring the city together. We have posted, and we're hiring a new city administrator. I'm looking for someone who's experienced. You want a job description, we'll send you one. I'm looking for people who have real municipal experience, who know how to run a city, know a little bit about public works, know about economic development in particular. I've hired most of my staff. The only person I have not yet hired, and those are people are also on the website, the only person I have not hired is what I call the economic development ombudsperson. I plan to have somebody in my office that will look at the big picture about what works and doesn't work about bringing business and jobs to Oakland, and can be that ombudsperson when the system fails. I don't want to be the first stop, but if the system fails somebody or people feel that the system's not working, I want to have somebody in my office down the hall that can keep tabs on that and tell me about that. We have tried to get the accounting system to work so I can take a 25% pay cut. Nobody in my office, except for me and possibly economic development person so far, makes more than $100,000. We're within the Dellum's budget, probably a little below it, probably significantly below it on some things. We are going to do most of our reorganization after the new city administrator is hired. But in the meanwhile, I am having department by department interviews. The two positions that I did decide to change because I promised the city council a preliminary budget, maybe not a complete budget, but at least a budget with their options and our options together as a city, so that both you as citizens and the council will have more time than the usual May budget. You have to rush around, try to get some hearings, and not a lot of dialogue. Some of our questionable, or should I say, more of our dilemmas give us choices. We're going to have to make those choices together, but there won't be surprises. It's the question of how many dollars, issues of pensions, issues of can we do things differently, can we merge some departments, can we merge some services between agencies? And I'm actually very actively looking at that. I'm trying to see if anybody else wants, whether we can take over somebody's fire department or share our radio resources, or even with the school district, can we share our facilities together so that you get a better bang for the buck as a citizen. So I replaced the two top budget people with Sabrina Landriff, who was the legislative analyst in that office in Sacramento, and was my staff person when I was chair of the budget finance person, the person who really helped engineer the last 3 budgets. So I have a lot of confidence that she can do that. I've also brought back somebody that many of you may know, who's a star in his own right, who refused to take money. I tried to give him money, but is working for me on a $1 a year basis for the next few months as Assistant City Administrator John Flores, the man whom many people give credit for the economic development in Emeryville. So he'll be working with me on economic development and on the budget. And I'll try to keep him as long as I can. Especially at $1 a year, can't resist. There will be a couple other people who are luckily boomers who've made their fortunes and are maybe coming and joining us on a volunteer basis, and we'll see how that works. I'm also trying to meet all the employees, and so that means all 28 police lineups. I've done 7, but we're going department by department. Literally, for those of you who remember in Search of Excellence, Tom Peters used to talk about managing by wandering around. When I first became a council member, I walked all the departments. I'm walking them again. When I was the president of the school board, I literally walked into every classroom in the Oakland Unified School District. It gives you a different feel of your organization and your system, and I'm going to try to finish that in 2 months. We have started weekly media briefings. So immediately after this, if you see some media people, we are trying to be sure that we're available to the public. We're trying to raise Oakland's profile. We understand that I'm on a honeymoon, that we're asking people literally to take a fresh look at Oakland. When McNeil and Lair wanted to interview me, I had 2 conditions. I said, you had to put one beautiful picture of Oakland. I gave them a choice of the lake or the redwoods, so that people will understand that this is one of the most gorgeous cities in the world. Because I was tired of people, particularly from the East Coast, saying, oh, why would you want to be the mayor of Oakland? I would say, well, you know, it is the most beautiful place, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and I've traveled a lot. It is one of the most diverse cities, and we have much better weather than San Francisco.